Hello there you guys, it's Miss Charlotte and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build on this channel. Yes, I know at the moment I'm just pumping out the Sims 4 videos, but I'm just really loving doing speed builds and like that odd little shell challenges and all sorts of things like that. So that's what's going out at the moment. Also, I just thought I'd let you know that with the Planet Zoo series, I recorded an episode that I was going to upload and oh my gosh, everything was just super chaotic, and I think I've decided I want to renew the series and start a brand new zoo because I don't know, I feel like I've learned how to play the game a lot more and just more effective and better and how to do things, and I kind of want a fresh start, so I think I might do that. So do let me know if you guys want to see that happen. And I may draw the Surviving Mars series to a close. I know some of you guys were really loving it, but it depends what the next episode, what kind of happens in it. I haven't filmed it yet, but there was a lot of starving, dying people and stuff like that, so we'll see. But anyway, returning to this video, I actually haven't introduced what I'm doing, but as you may be able to tell by the title, but I wanted to build an Edwardian shop complex. I don't know what else to really call this, but the vibe I basically wanted to go for is like a very quaint villagey style with Edwardian kind of outdoor paneling stoning thing. Don't really know how to describe it, but if you do look up pictures of Edwardian homes, you get a lot of this style of wall paint that I use, like you generally seem to see, especially in houses that are Edwardian style. From what I've seen, these wooden panels, and it's like very geometric, like straight and triangles and that kind of thing, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with this build, which is lovely because they do paint, wall paint I guess, like that in The Sims, but originally I wanted to make it one stack of two shops. So I wanted the ground floor to be a pet store and then the top floor to be a florist, but when I built it, it just looked so strange. Like it would make sense if it was in a row of shops or a little village area, but obviously it's hard to do that because each lot in The Sims is very separate and very different, and the builds that were surrounding this lot weren't in the same Edwardian style, so it looked a bit weird and a bit out of place. So instead I decided to do two little shopping complexes almost next to each other. But then I thought it might be cool to kind of join it up at the top. So I had the bottom layer being a pet store on the left, and then on the right, I originally for some reason went blank and I was like, what kind of retail shop can I even make? And I started making a I guess it was kind of like an art studio, art gallery kind of place where you just buy art, like an art store. I guess that makes more sense for like sculptures and paintings. And then I was like, oh, I can just make it some sort of grocer. And oh my god, when we get to furnishing that bit, it was a hot mess. It was just a whole lot of debug items and trying to make it work. But I think it ended up okay. But yeah, those were the two bottom floor shops, and then at the top I had a florist with a little almost like passageway bridge thing going between the two buildings, and I think it looked really nice. So I kind of wanted the same style for each of the shops, but with like a variation in colour. And no, I guess it's the same kind of style of the layout and the kind of base things that you would get if you bought a shop, so like the wall paint and the flooring, but I wanted subtle differences in there to make it like much more stylized to what the shop was. So with the pet store I made it fairly modern, very nice, light and bright, and I kind of went with a blue theme. And then with the grocer I kind of made it more wooden and a lot more cozy. And then the florist I feel like was also quite modern, I guess, with loads of plants everywhere, and yeah, you will see that in a bit. So at first I was working on the pet store here. This is the first time I think I've built a retail or any sort of like business lot properly in The Sims 4. I remember doing it in The Sims 3 a lot, and it's quite similar, like the kind of items you have. But the one thing that I found quite tricky was finding things that fit on the different display tables that I'm using here. But in my head I knew that I wanted like lots of dog and cat food to sell, because like this sounds really weird, but the main inspiration for this was I really wanted to make a pet shop, like not to sell pets, like an animal pet store, kind of like stuff that you would buy for your animals. I guess that's called a pet store, isn't it? Like a Pets R Us. That's what I wanted to build, an off-brand EA Sims 4 Pets R Us, and I really love the bags of dog food. Like whenever I'm building, because I have the cats and dogs expansion pack or game pack, I'm really bad at memorizing which ones are game packs, expansion packs. I mean, stuff packs are pretty easy, but yeah, I've always seen these bags of food and I've never thought to put them in a build, except from if I was gonna like build a pet store. So that is kind of why I started doing this this kind of build, and why I've decided to kind of experiment more with community lots, because in my free time I think I've built a few community lots, not that many, and I find them much more difficult to make compared to houses. I'm definitely used to making houses compared to community lots, because I don't think it's even like the restrictions that are hard. It's just a lot of community lots, because of what they consist of, they have to be quite big, or that's how I've always built them, and they end up just looking naff because I don't know, I haven't mastered making massive builds look good, if that makes sense, because I'm really bad at trying to fill spaces. But regardless of that, I'm really excited to get into more like community building. I feel like I want to definitely try a few more things. Like I've once tried to make a cinema and it looked absolutely awful, but I don't know, I think I'm finding a bit of motivation and trying to make them look a lot better. But anyway, back to the build. I thought I'd spice up this room and this shop with lots of cool wall art, because the pet pack definitely has a lot of cool stuff for you to put around, and there aren't really any like animal paintings or anything that would kind of, in my opinion, suit a pet store. There were loads of posters like this that were very veterinary, and I feel like you can make a really cool vet, which I might do, because I mean, it is what I'm doing in life, so it might be cool to make my own vet clinic. But there were a few cool posters that I thought would kind of be cool advertising points for a pet store to have, and kind of fill the wall space, because there was a lot of wall space, as I decided to not put windows on the right hand side of the building, just because it stares at another building and it just looks a little bit weird. But I put loads of cool stickers and stuff like that, and I think it made it like very kid friendly and cool. Also, I was going to hand manually put down those paw prints, and I realised that The Sims already came up with it already, that idea. So I did some cool paw prints leading up to the counter, which I thought was a very cool, cute thing. And then just adding things like a rug. I really like this rug. I've been using it a lot in my builds actually, like just when playing on my own and stuff. That sounds really, really sad and lonely, but it's true. I think it's a really cool rug, and it has loads of cool swatches, and it's a very interesting shape, but it kind of works for a few rooms. And I decided that with these shops I was going to put some carpets down, not carpets, rugs, just to spice it up, because I feel like when you make a long room like this, it can look a little empty without a few cool rugs. But that was pretty much it for the pet store, just kind of putting bits and bobs for you to sell. Obviously, for this to be entirely functional, you would kind of have to go in with your sim and buy this lot and then set everything for sale, if that makes sense. That goes to apply for the food store as well as the florist. With these stores, if you did want to download them on the gallery, and you can find me on the gallery at Miss Charlotte, that you would have to make a few edits, I think, to the food store, just because a lot of the stuff, I mean, you could sell it, but I think it'd be much more fun kind of like bringing homemade food and dishes to sell, because for some reason, I'm sure there is a way you can do it where you can use the debug items. Like there was platters of cupcakes and stuff, but when I placed them, they totally disappeared and just became dishes. I'm sure there's a way of getting around that where you can sell those and then people can download it and actually sell those normally. But I would definitely suggest, if you wanted to play this, to definitely sub out all of the weird food items that I put down, or you could sell them. It was a challenge, this bit, but I got halfway through and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep pushing onwards. So this is me making the kind of like grocer / cooking shop, and that kind of thing. This is actually the first time, and I'm so glad I recorded it, because I feel like you can really just see my mixture of shock, awe, and like absolute struggle when using debug items. For the very first time, like I have never in any of the Sims used debug items, and I can't believe it's taken me this long, because it's just like, I feel like debug stuff is ideal for people who like building, because there's so much cool stuff that's hidden, that you'll see in the world everywhere, but you just can't get it in build mode. mode, on buy mode, but it's so overwhelming because none of it is organized. It's just a whole cluster of really cool bits and bobs objects, but it's perfect for when you're making community lots, I feel, like this, where you want to sell cool little foodie bits and bobs. I found some really weird stuff and it ended up in this build, unfortunately. Like, I mean, that cutting board with veg on it is enough. Like, who's gonna... I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I guess someone goes into the shop and like there's a nice platter of veg that they can buy. Like, this is a grocer, alright? This is what I did. Like, I sized up melons. You can buy a melon slice. There's like tomatoes, there's apples, there's flour and eggs, and flour in a bowl apparently, because forget a flour bag, just flour in a bowl, and lettuce and onions all in ice as well. I wish you could like adjust what was on the bottom and what was on the top in terms of like the bottom of the shelving. It's ice, I'm guessing. Well, that's what it looks like to me. I wish I could put like the ice at the top or no ice at all, because I mean, you don't really put like fresh veg and fruit, just not even in any sort of container, just on ice. Well, I guess this is good, like a container free, like plastic saving really nice grocer. And bread on ice, because who doesn't like frozen bread? And then some cupcakes. I liked this though. It was like a little kind of pastry area as well. I really feel like it would have looked a lot better if there are a few, I mean, I may have just not seen them and they did exist, but a few more kind of container things, I guess. What are they called? Like display shelves, I guess? Display cases for food products that aren't like this. I don't know. Like, I really like the dessert platter that you always get in build mode that I've put on the counter, where the till is, or where the cash register is for this American Sims 4 that we're playing. And I kind of wish there were things like that, because I think that would be definitely a lot more cool. But as you can see, I was just struggling to find things to put there. That was like a bag of sprinkles, I think. Like, sure, I guess some people might buy that. I do really like these bottles and things that you can find. I'm pretty sure one of the ones I put up there was like a little bottle of sulfur. Don't know the context of that. I guess some sort of scientific lab kind of object that is somewhere in the world. But it looked like a weird bottle that you could buy, like, I don't know, seasoning in or something. Also, something really fun, which might be a horrible game for you guys to figure out, in the background there's someone in the garden next to me, or the like my neighbour's neighbour, I think it might be, who is drilling at something or sawing something. I don't know, it's some sort of really, really loud piece of equipment. There we go, there it went. I probably shouldn't even be addressing it. Like, this was meant to be a nice seamless speed build, like narration, like really chill and nice, but no, that's in the background. So apologies if you guys can hear that, but that also might be a fun thing to listen out for. Definitely not a fun thing at all, but it's fine. But as you can see here, back to the build, just adding cool rugs. I ended up changing this at the end. There is a portion that I didn't put in the video where I just went in and just added a few adjustments, nothing too major. I think like the most major thing was adding or changing these rugs in this shop, and then just adding some things to the outside, to the entrance. Like, I did a little awning area over each door, at each shop door, but I did do a section off camera just because this was going to get long, and it was long enough just me fiddling with stuff. And I don't know, I feel like adjustments aren't the most fun to watch, and it's kind of nice to have a bit of a grand reveal, so that is what I did at the end. But just adding more debug stuff like saucepans, because, you know, you go to a grocer and they may sell some cooking equipment. There definitely is a shop like that near me. I don't know what it is, but it's like a cooking shop, if that makes sense. Like, they sell like mainly frozen stuff, but also like cooking tools and equipment. So I think that's kind of the vibe of this shop. I think that's what it ended up being anyway. And I definitely got like rid of a few shelves in the grocer, because I was like, I'm running out of things to put in this shop and I can't fill all of the space. But a pineapple, very important, and I'm glad I put it in this build. Another really cool thing that I put in this build was, for each shop I kind of wanted it to have its own logo and its own sign. So with the pet shop, as you saw, I kind of had the cat and dog little individual signs, and that was kind of like the symbol and like the brand, I guess, for the shop. And so I tried to put it in the shop as well. I had trouble, and I feel like I think I might have done this off camera, but I had loads of weird logos in there, but I ended up doing one for the grocer as well, and then the florist didn't really have one. Actually, the florist did, which you'll see at the end. Like, the massive writing at the top of the complex is like in my head what the Florist is called. But yeah, anyway, speaking of the Florist, we are moving on to it now. It was easily my favourite part of this build. I was really looking forward to doing this because I thought it'd be really nice just to make a really nice plant shop, because I love plants. I'm such a plant fanatic in real life, and I love the plants in The Sims. They have like some really good ones. Especially like the ones that go on tables. So I thought I'd have a few tables placed around symmetrical on both sides of the shop that branch over the building, and kind of have a nice array of plants similar in style. Like I did like a terracotta, is it terracotta, is that the right colour? I don't know, but like the common plant pot colour, that's what I meant. Like a little section like that, and then like white potted plants and succulents, and then some random ones. And also I thought I'd put a florist arranging flower table. That is not what the name of it is, but you guys know what I mean. Just so if you guys wanted to play with this, or even if I made it playable, you could make flowers to sell kind of in the actual space. I don't want to do that for the others. So for the pet store you wouldn't have anything like that, but I guess for the grocer you'd have like a little kitchen, but I feel like that would make it more of a restaurant. Although I guess if I made it like more of a bakery style, you would have like a little kitchen out back, but I decided just to add that kind of like functional ability to make produce to sell for the florist, since it was a large area and there was room for it. But it was really fun just making it absolutely plant filled. It was like my dream thing. I love it. But then after that I just added some nice little decorations to the outside, which I also do off camera in a bit, but just adding some stuff like bins and a nice little bench. And then I also found this really cool like lamppost thing with a flower basket in the middle. I'm pretty sure The Sims had more types of those, but I couldn't find them for some reason, but I put that in the middle to make it look like it's kind of like a street area where you walk down, and then these are almost two separate shop buildings, and just to try and like, I don't know, that's the style I wanted it, very villagey and like a nice group of shops that you'd find here. There it is on the screen, it's beautiful. But that's pretty much it. If you guys are interested in downloading some of my builds because you like them, you can check me out on the gallery. You can find me by Miss Charlotte, or if you want to share builds with me, you could do that way, and all cool stuff like that. Even if you like take some of my builds and renovate them, I think that is super cool. And there you will find me if I start making shell challenges, which is definitely a possibility, because as you may tell by the two that were instantly uploaded recently, I'm liking shell challenges at the moment. And there's a really difficult one that Plumbella has made, and I'm debating whether to do it because I know it'll be a long video, but let me know if you guys want to see stuff like that. But that's pretty much it for this build and this video. I really do hope you liked it, and if you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think in the comments, what kind of videos you would like to see on this channel. Do you like the speed builds? Do you like the Sims 4 videos? What other games would you like to see? And that is pretty much it. Do feel free to subscribe for videos every Wednesday and Saturday, and check me out on Twitch for some random streams from time to time. But that's pretty much it. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!